Hi, my name is Whalen. I did my project on depression among us, which is an infographic I created myself about mental health, specifically depression. So let's get started. As of late, mental health is something that is both talked about openly and regularly, and at the same time, not at all. Despite all the advances made in understanding depression and other mental illnesses, these conditions are still stigmatized. The negative perception of mental illnesses probably comes from people not understanding mental illness and what it means to struggle with it. Mental illness stigma can lead to feelings of shame and self-consciousness, and it can negatively impact help seeking, as well as early detection and prevention. Education can change that and can reduce the stigma and improve the environment surrounding mental illness. It is one of the most powerful tools you can use to counter any shame you feel about your mental illness and to make sure others know what mental illness is and what it isn't. This is what I sought to do through my senior project. I wanted to increase my education on mental health, specifically depression, and also create something that could stand up in a way to educate others, or at least as they walk by, can cause their train of thought to pause and take a hold on this important issue. Because I know that how our brains work is we live in a society of instant gratification, and if it doesn't fulfill you right away, you kind of move on. And so I created a infographic that would hopefully envelop everything in a short, easy to understand way, but also get the information you need to learn more about depression, so that if you walk past it, and this would be a poster all around Gordon campus, you would at least think about it and continue to think about it a little bit more. And I'm not expecting every single person, but if it can impact one person, that's all. And impact is a big, strong word, but if it could cause people to think and take a pause, that's all I wanted to achieve through this. As a result, I created an infographic on depression that is directly towards college ages between 18 and 25. For personally, I have friends and loved ones who have struggled with depression and struggle with the stigma. Interestingly enough, when researching this age group, there was not much, there was a lot, but there wasn't as much as with adolescents. But research found that the percentage of depression within the years of college is greater and on the rise than found in adolescents. 31% of college age have struggled with depression in the last 12 months, as found in 2019. And I'm sure that this last year percentage will increase by a lot. When completing this project, I broke it into 5 parts. I'll show you my project right now. So this is my infographic. I created the blue tone as a way to, because I know that blue connects with calm, and I wanted this not to be an abrasive, come look at me, but more when you look at it, you feel more calm. And I think that's important with depression, with anxiety, with mental health. And I wanted more peace than red, which is used in a lot of infographics for eye-catching. So when I first completed this project, I broke it into 5 parts. The first being the definitions of each types of depression. I'll show you them in depth. So what is depression? I broke it into 4 of the main depression types. There are many different types, but I wanted to specify the 4 main types that are most common, and that's major depression disorder, persistent depression, bipolar disorder, and seasonal depression. After that, I did the signs and symptoms, which I think is very important to recognize and educate yourself on so that you can recognize them in others. After that, I did how depression affects its age group, and I already used this statistic for 31%, but I specifically wanted to do with women and men, how it affects them, and I found that 1 in 8 women develop depression in their lives, and they're 2 times more likely to struggle with it than men. But at the same time, on the other hand, men struggle with suicide. 75% of suicides are made by men, and they're 4 times more higher than male students compared to a female. After that, I did what is the results of the depression, and like what is the outcome and causes. So substance abuse, which is already kind of a regular thing in college, but it's there's a big correlation with them. Causation, and the leading causes of depression are academic stress, which is huge, traumatic event, romantic problems, and divorcing parents. So finally, I wanted to do how can it be treated, and there are many different types but I found that these ones are the most found in many different research I was doing. So these are the 6 that I chose. So music, schedule, medication, exercise, healthy food, and psychotherapy. And then, of course, I wanted to talk about suicide and how that there's always help, and there's a hotline for that. Yes. So the main reason I said already for creating this project was to get myself educated more, and I also wanted to help educate others. Even though this was only through statistics and icons, I hope to reduce the stigma in any way, to help promote that this mental illness is not rare or odd or to be treated as different or in any way shameful. The greatest thing I learned through this project was different ways to fight stigma and support mental health, and I found that through 4 things. First, to educate yourself, obviously. Share your mental health journey with others. I think talking about what you struggle with is most important. That we must be conscious of our language, not using crazy or nuts or I'm going to kill myself as a joke. And then finally, that we must recognize someone's identity outside of their illness. I learned through this project that mental health should be continued to talk about and understood outside of the negative spotlight, and that I have the power to communicate in different ways on this issue, not just graphic design like I use in this instance, and not just presenting, but through social media and other conversations, and through conversations. And there's so many different ways that you can talk about mental illness and create it less of a stigma and less of a thing that should be feared, because it is very common in college age. So I think talking about it and making it understood as not a scary thing is the most important thing. So thank you for listening, and yeah.